the chamber of the Great Assembly had never been this silent. 900 delegates from 400 worlds sat frozen, staring at the empty podium, where the human representative should have been standing. The final vote to exile humanity from galactic space was seconds away. Cameras from 1,000 systems were broadcasting live, and the seat reserved for Earth's ambassador was empty. Not late, empty. Powered down. Cold. "Where is the human delegate?" demanded Chancellor Vey Osrin, her 4 eyes narrowing as she scanned the chamber. An aide rushed to her side, face pale beneath scaled skin. "Chancellor, we lost contact with the Sol system 6 hours ago." Gasps rippled across the assembly. "Lost contact how?" Vey snapped. "Not lost contact, Chancellor." The aide's voice cracked. "Earth is gone, the entire Sol system. Every satellite, every relay, every trace of the planet. Gone from every scanner in known space." The room erupted into chaos. Delegates shouted over one another. Somewhere in the upper tiers, a Thren diplomat fainted clean out of his seat. Vey slammed her gavel 3 times. "Order. I want a full sensor sweep of the Sol system immediately." But she already knew what the sweep would show. Nothing. Because 3 days earlier, this had all started with a single, quiet lie. 3 days earlier, Ambassador Naomi Reyes stood in the observation deck of Earth's last surviving orbital station, watching the fleet of alien warships gather beyond the atmosphere, like a noose tightening around a throat. For 11 years, humanity had petitioned for membership in the Great Assembly. For 11 years, they had been mocked, delayed, and dismissed as a primitive, violent species unfit for galactic citizenship. Now the vote to formally exile Earth Euros to cut off all trade, all contact, all protection from the pirate fleets roaming beyond the frontier Euros was 2 days away. "They're going to vote yes," said General Marcus Thorne, arms crossed behind her. "You know that." "I know," Naomi said quietly. "So why aren't you panicking?" Naomi turned. There was something calm in her eyes, a Euro, the calm of someone who had already made this impossible decision. "Because we're not going to be here when they vote." Marcus frowned. "What are you talking about?" "We can't just Euros, we can," Naomi said. "And we already started." Behind her, deep beneath the surface of the planet, in facilities no alien scanner had ever detected, humanity's greatest secret was already humming to life. No one expected what came next. The technology had a name only a handful of people on Earth knew. The asterisk hollow veil. Not a weapon. Not a warp drive. A concealment field so complete it didn't just hide a planet of Euros. It erased every trace that the planet had ever broadcast a signal at all. 40 years of quiet research, born from a single terrifying realization. Humanity could never win a war against a 1,000-world alliance, but it could disappear from one. Dr. Amara Okafor, the physicist who built it, stood in the control room with trembling hands over the activation console. "Once we do this," she said, "there's no half measure. We go dark completely. No trade, no contact, no rescue if it fails." "And if we don't?" Naomi asked. "They vote us into exile in 2 days. No protection, no trade routes. The Skarn raiders will pick us apart within a year." Amara looked at the console, then at Naomi, then finally she nodded. "For Earth," she whispered, and pressed her palm to the activation panel. Somewhere in the void beyond Neptune, space itself seemed to fold a Euros. Not open, not tear, simply asterisk fold, like a page being closed in a book too large for any outsider to read. The last signal that left the Sol system was a single automated message, sent to no one, addressed to everyone: "We are still here. You just can't see us anymore." The council had no idea what they had just lost. Back in the assembly chamber, panic gave way to fear. "This is unprecedented," muttered Ambassador Ketrick Vosh, a Draylan trade envoy whose entire economy depended on rare minerals only Earth's asteroid belt could supply. "A planet does not simply vanish. Unless," said a quiet voice from the back rows. "They wanted it to." All eyes turned to Zayn Thal, a young Ashkari intelligence officer, who had spent the last 3 years studying human behavior. He stepped forward, his 4-fingered hands folded behind his back. "I warned this council 8 months ago," Zayn said. "Humans do not think like us. When cornered, other species negotiate, submit, or fight. Humans do something else. They adapt in silence." "Meaning what, exactly?" Chancellor Vey asked, though something in her voice suggested she feared the answer. "Meaning while we spent a decade debating whether they deserved a seat at this table," Zayn said, "they spent that same decade preparing for the moment we said no." The chamber went dead silent. That wasn't even the most alarming part. 3 hours into the emergency session, a new transmission arrived not from Earth, but from a small, unmarked scout vessel drifting just outside assembly space. It was Marcus Thorne's voice, calm and steady, broadcasting on an open channel for every delegate to hear. This is General Marcus Thorne of Earth's Defense Fleet. I'm not here to threaten anyone. I'm here to explain something you clearly don't understand yet. Vey leaned toward the speaker. Explain, General, you were about to exile a species you never once tried to understand, Marcus said. You called us primitive because we fight. You never asked why we fight. Every human on that planet has buried someone to violence, disease, or disaster before we ever left our own atmosphere. We didn't build the Hollow Veil to threaten you. We built it because for 11 years, this council treated our survival as a debate topic. Ambassador Kettrick shifted uncomfortably. Several delegates lowered their eyes. So no, Marcus continued, you won't find Earth, not because we're hiding from a fight. We're hiding from a court that already decided our fate before the trial began. The transmission cut. Silence swallowed the chamber whole. Then Chancellor Vey did something no one expected. She rose from her seat, and for the first time in the history of the Assembly, she asked the room a question that wasn't procedural. What have we done? What followed was not a vote. It was a reckoning. Over the next 2 days, archived records long buried in Assembly databases were pulled into the light. Records showing that 11 years earlier, Earth's original petition for membership had included offers no other species had ever extended. Shared medical research capable of curing 3 known galactic plagues, open access to Earth's agricultural technology, capable of ending famine on 40 worlds, and a formal request for peaceful coexistence, not conquest. The Council had ignored it. Delayed it. Mocked it as naive. The truth stunned every delegate present. Humanity hadn't been hiding a weapon behind the Hollow Veil. It had been hiding heartbreak. Zayanthal stood again. This time with tears he didn't bother to hide. We didn't just fail to welcome them, he said. We taught an entire species that kindness gets punished. And then we're surprised when they stop offering it. On the 4th day, a single small vessel reappeared in the void near the Assembly homeworld Euros. Not a warship, not a threat, just a single unarmed diplomatic shuttle. Naomi Reyes stepped off it alone, walking into a chamber that, days earlier, had been prepared to erase her people from galactic history. She didn't come with demands. She came with a folder. This is our new proposal, she said, placing it before Chancellor Vey. Not a request for membership. A request for understanding first, trade later. Trust earned, not granted. Vey studied the human woman for a long moment. Small, tired, unarmed, and utterly unshaken. Why come back at all? Vey asked quietly. You could have stayed hidden forever. Naomi's answer was simple. Because disappearing proved we could survive without you. Coming back proves we never wanted to. For the first time in Assembly history, the chamber rose Euros. Not in judgment, not in fear, but in something none of them expected to feel toward the species they had almost erased. Respect. The vote to exile humanity was withdrawn unanimously. In its place, a new motion passed. Earth would be granted a permanent seat on the Council, not as a subject species proving its worth, but as an equal that had already proven. It didn't need anyone's permission to survive. As Naomi walked out of the chamber that day, Zayanthal caught up to her at the door. Your people vanished an entire planet just to make a point, he said, half in awe, half in disbelief. What would you have done if we'd actually voted to exile you? Naomi paused at the threshold, glancing back at the stars beyond the great windows Euros. Stars that, for 4 days, had held a secret no scanner in the galaxy could find. We'd have kept the veil up, she said softly, and built something better without you. But I'm glad we didn't have to. She stepped through the door, and somewhere far across the galaxy, Earth quietly reappeared on every star chart in existence Euros. Not as a planet that had been saved by anyone else, but as one that had simply chosen, at last, to be seen.